Welcome everyone. If you're interested in stock market trade ideas, technical analysis of the markets, and how to manage trades, stay tuned. That's what we cover in this channel. I don't get on camera. For the most part, what I do is just point out the charts and try to point out trade ideas that can make people money. So let's get right into it. We're going to start out with triple Qs. Again, I talked about the other day how we had a breakdown of that support level at 360.71 when they opened the market, but they bid it right back up, and that was kind of a no dice on the short. So I talked about that, saying I wasn't shorting because I didn't see a breakdown or a sell signal. So anytime I see a sell signal, especially in this market, it's pretty pumped up. And so, when I see a sell signal, I usually put out a video saying I see a sell signal, I'm going to take the short. And again, we just don't see anything right now. So that's that circled area right there. And bigger picture, really for the last month, we've just been going sideways. So until we break down, no sell signal. Negative divergences in the momentum indicators indicate that we're going to break down, but it doesn't mean we can't put in another new high, maybe extend the divergence, and then break down after that. So until I see a sell signal, it's really prices continue to move higher and no change there. Moving on to the SPY, same thing. SPY, I was really looking for a break at this level, 435.99. We didn't get that. We tagged that perfectly at support. The dip buyer stepped in and they're buying it back up. So we do have negative divergence. That remains. It's a pretty big divergence. So it tells me we're going to get a big move to the downside when we get a breakdown, but we don't have a sell signal. So until we have a sell signal, an impulsive break below trendline support, we just let this thing continue to grind. And maybe it runs up and makes a new high and then breaks. We don't know. All right. So we just have to wait for price to dictate when we're going to get that breakdown. Now, I'm more interested, again, a lot of people maybe wonder why I'm more interested in shorting this market than I am being long. And that's because we have these big, long, extended negative divergences. When these things show up, and more often than not, when they get pretty extended, that's where you get the big moves to the downside. And so that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, probably a 20% correction coming in when we get that sell signal. But until then, it's going to grind higher. And we'll just let this thing do what it wants to do. And just real quick on the small caps again. Today, they're just buying it at that support level. I talked about that where I said we were in this area of support. This is where the buyer should be at. Today, they're buying that up. Again, we're going back almost a year now of just sideways trading action where we're basically just chopping and thrashing around like that. So until we break one way or the other out of this range, there's just we're range bound. Again, we do have big negative divergence that keeps extending on the IWM, telling me we're going to probably get a pretty impulsive break to the downside. And when that comes, I would look for a pretty swift move down, because there's been this is where all the trading has been this entire year. So likely if you start to break to the downside, that's a year's worth of trades, people that are long that will start to panic sell and get out of their trade. So till we see the breakdown, we'll just let this do its thing. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about some trade ideas. Corn, and this is commodities. Now, commodities have been in a bull market really since going back to August of 2020. This is a daily chart, and you can see that we've been walking up this upward price, this trend line basically for over a year now. We've been in a nice long bull leg. I do think we've started a bull market in commodities. If I roll out, you can see this is really the bear market where it started back in August of 2012, and it was a big, long, extended bear market lasting almost 8 years. But you can see we have clearly taken out this downtrend, and we're starting to make a series of higher highs and higher lows. Just want to, so it's recognizable as an uptrend. I think it's probably time for a correction in these commodities within the bull market. And that's what I see happening right now. So on corn, you can see here that we have this uptrend line, and right there, we've got a sell signal or a break of that trend line support. Looking at, corn, we didn't really have negative divergence, a little negative divergence right here. You can see we did have a little bit right there, and that's it on the RSI. So not a lot of negative divergence. I would look for, but with the breakdown, if we get the daily close down here, I would look for a breakdown to 1916 is this level of support. You can see the reactions here. We break below that, I'd look down here at about 1750. We could go lower, but for now I'm going to leave those as the potential targets to the downside in corn. And looking at a broader commodity index, DJP, you can see this is the kind of a broader commodity. There's a lot of different commodities in here, but this is the clear uptrend right here. And we basically started to build negative divergence back here. You can see the big negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So meaning we had a higher high in price here, here, and here, but there were lower highs in momentum. All right. Again, if you're interested in these concepts, take my training course. It's a stock market technical analysis course. I put about 5 to 6 hours worth of video trainings about risk management, trendline analysis, divergence analysis, all the concepts I talk about that in this video. Link in the description below. Okay, so there was your negative divergence, and then you clearly have a sell signal. So commodities are likely going to correct, and we've obviously got some reaction highs in here. And I would say the target's probably right here for this correction. If we're going to get a correction, somewhere right down in there at about, probably can tighten it up, but we'll say right about 2350, we'll call it. That's where I'd look for in terms of a target on this commodities correction, and then likely probably resume the bullish trend that we've put into these commodities. Okay, gold. Let's take a look at gold here. Gold pretty much all week has been flat, just kind of consolidating right here. So we got to see where this breaks out of. A break to the upside above this 1790 area is bullish, and a break below, about 1778 to the downside is bearish. That's it. I'm assuming we're going to break to the upside because we have bullish divergence. So you can see here I've marked out where we basically put in, we're trending upward in momentum right there on the RSI and the PPO. And yet on price, we made a kind of a flush out move last week, or a couple, 2 weeks ago on Sunday, basically. So that was a divergent low, meaning we have bullish divergence, telling me we have a high probability we're going to break to the upside. Also, another thing to look at on gold, I've got the green line marked out here. And this rolls back to your bullish trend. And you can see right there, we held support here, held support right in this area. And then they broke that support right there, but they've bounced it up and recovered it so far. So things to watch for. We're not out of the woods yet. If we break to the downside, then likely we're going to see some more downside in gold. Otherwise, look for a continuation of this bullish trend. Okay, American Eagle, we're rallying the last couple days right into resistance, right there at about 32.59. That's resistance. You can see all the times we held that support level all through here. And that's the objective area to short. So again, I talked about this back here when we hit our support level at 30.62. I covered my short and I was looking to re-short it on a bounce back to resistance. That's exactly what I'm looking to do now. So you can see here, bigger picture, we have a clear uptrend line coming back to March 2020 lows, or this is April. Clean uptrend line at the highs, we put in negative divergence. So you see that building right there. Divergent high, break of trend, and we're starting to make lower lows and lower highs. So clear downtrend. I think we resume that downtrend, looking to break below this level at 30.60 and head down to the next level of support, which really isn't till about 26. That's the next level that I see. That's a good level of support and probably the final target for this trade. But from where we're at now, that would be a drop of another 19, almost 20%. All right, so that's that. Tesla, a little bit of a battle this week going on. You've got, obviously we've heard about Michael Burry and Cathie Wood. They're kind of duking it out, trying to, taking opposite sides of the trade. The thing is that Cathie Wood is biased. She runs a innovation fund. So she wants money piling into that ETF because she makes a percentage on that money. So she's always going to be bullish. Even when things sell off 30-40%, she'll talk about this as a good time to buy. She's never going to tell you it's a good time to sell. And then Burry is taking the other side. He thinks they're overvalued and shorting those. Tesla being one of the major holdings in that ETF. And you can see they're kind of battling it out. We've got this on the daily time frame, a short-term trend line here, bullish trend line. We do have negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO, really in the short time frame. This is a divergent high right here. You can see how we're downtrending. My lines are a little off, but if I adjust it like that, you can see we're slightly downtrending. And here, there, like that, tighten it up. So a little divergent high, and we're at the trendline support, just barely breaking, but not able to really impulsively break down. So let's see how the week closes. We got about 10 minutes left for the week. Let's see if they close it below here or if they close it back above the support. Again, my trend line might be off slightly as well, so pretty close to call. We'll see what next week brings. We could, move gap up and make another leg higher, or maybe we break down. We need to see an impulsive break, an impulsive candle for the next sell signal. And if we get that, I think we're setting up next for a move of 550, about 553.50, and then ultimate target about 463, 50 or so. Okay, and this one's on watch. Alcoa AA, clear uptrend channel, clearly in a bull trend. But we have negative divergence building on the RSI and the PPO, telling us that we're likely going to get a break of trend. Here's our trend line. We're waiting for an impulsive break of this trend line right here. So maybe we grind along here for the next week and then break. We need to see the impulsive break whenever it comes before we enter a trade. But this is a short setup, not an actionable trade though. So we could grind higher, we could make all new highs in this and then break. We don't know. So wait for that breakdown, in my opinion. Okay. That's all I got, guys. I am going to do a live stream tomorrow morning. I haven't done one in a few weeks, so be on the lookout for that. If you have any stock charts you want me to look at, any trade ideas you have, bring them to that live stream. We'll all go through it. It's a good time, and usually we can find some trade setups for the next week. Other than that, leave me a thumbs up on your way out, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.